This system, this three-dimensional reality, this physical reality that we have spawned into, that we have incarnated into, it has been designed to make it seem like you have free will over what you're doing. It's only logical, right? Like, I am in control of this physical body, and what I do from moment to moment is of my own volition. I'm in charge of my life. I'm the one that's doing whatever I'm doing or not doing. And I'm in, hopefully, control. But the thing is that this deity, this God that's in charge of everything, the grand cosmos, the universe, the spirit that's behind the scenes, the spirit that embodies both the physical and the unphysical, the spirit that is in everything and in nothing, that is what's controlling everything. How can it not be? It's in charge of everything. It is the intelligence behind everything. So that's what we're talking about here. It's basically like free will or choice versus God. And God is on the side of destiny and fate. Because the God, the goddess, the divine, the creator and destroyer and maintainer, the divine aspect of all that is what's out here pulling the strings. And we're just little puppets. And we think that we're so important to our own little stories. And we think that our lives, our own personal lives, are so important because that's all you're focused on, right? Is me in my mind, like in my story. And then when you zoom out far enough, God's in charge of everyone's story, but not just everyone, not all 8 billion and however many million billion people are on the planet, but also all the other life forms. So God's in charge of all of the life forms. He's in charge of us, humans, but he's also in charge of everything. And that's too big for our little minds to comprehend the awesomeness of it all. It's too big, it's too much. So we just like zoom in on ourselves. It's only natural. But the awe-inspiring notion, this idea like in the Bible where they're like the fear of God, fear God, the awesomeness, like bowing down, like submitting to this force, that comes from the idea that it's too big. It's too big for us. It's too big for humans to understand on the level of the mind. The mind can't understand it. That God is in charge of everything, that God is keeping everything in motion. The planets, the galaxies, the universe, the space in between, the unseen and the seen, all of that stuff. The oceans and the mountains and the forests, right? The temperatures, the oxygen that we breathe, everyone, like 8 billion people and all of their little thoughts and all of their little stories and their impulses and their instincts and all of the animals. It's countless animals, even animals that we don't even know of in the deep sea, in the deep oceans, and in the Amazons and in the jungles and the rainforests in Africa. Like all of these life forms, all of these pieces of what God is, they're all controlled by God, and they're all you, and they're all me. And there's no such thing as free will when you zoom out far enough. God knows everything. God already knows what your life is going to entail when you come in. You think that like you're in charge? It's meant to look like you're in charge. So personally, to you, you're in charge of your life. It's meant to feel that way. But you're just the little puppet. Everyone's just a little puppet that God is pulling the strings on in any given moment so that he can experience himself in the physical. Because you can't just be light and dark and energy. It has to slow down and become physical so that God can interact with itself. And that's all this is God interacting with itself in its various like myriad of forms. That's all it is. And so when you really grasp that, when there's like a really profound, like deep knowing in you that that's what God is and that's what's really going on here, in this physical world that we're living in, when you really realize that, then the natural inclination towards faith and submitting and surrendering to the divine happens just like automatically. And that's this faith that comes in that like Jesus talks about and that like the Judeo-Christian model talks about, this profound faith. Because we realize that we're not really driving the car. We're not steering the ship. God is all the time. So for me, where I've settled after a lot of contemplating, thinking, just like meditating on it, is that it's like a 50-50 proposition. There is free will to you personally, yes, but there is also the fate and the destiny, and that your life is already pre-planned, and that you're gonna act out however you're meant to act out. You come in with a specific destiny. There's only one timeline. There's like, in like the new age spirituality, there's like this notion of like shifting timelines, and that you're like, no, man, you think God doesn't know that you're gonna shift timelines? Do you think that if you're here and then all of a sudden you come up here, that God doesn't know that that gap, that you bridging that gap is gonna happen? And then it's not already foretold? You think you're in control of that? God right now is speaking through me. God is speaking through you. Your thoughts are God. There is nothing that exists that is not God. When you guys really understand that, like when you really get it, you're gonna be like, oh my God, like the wool has been pulled over my eyes. Like this is like, what is this? It's just this big game. It's like a joke. And then you kind of stop taking all of this stuff so seriously, because ultimately you're like invincible in a way, because your truest self, your truest nature is the divine spark of God. You are God itself. You have the same creative potential in you. And when you're living your life, yeah, it looks like it's free will. It looks like you're in charge of your choices, and you're sitting down, you're thinking about stuff, and you're like planning and all of these things. But like, your plans don't come to fruition the vast majority of the time, do they? They really don't. You have like these fantasies of what your life is going to look like, and it never turns out that way. It's like a 1 in a million shot that your life turns out perfectly the exact way that you planned it. Because there's so many things that it's just unaccountable. The only one that can keep charge is the divine. It keeps track of everything. It's very meticulous, down to the little tiniest atom. And when you zoom out to the largest galaxy in the entire universe, on the flip side of the universe, billions and trillions of light years away, God is there too. Just as he, she is here too in us. And we are a mirror reflection of all of it. It's all within us, all the time. So for me to sit here and think that I am fully in charge of my life all the time, that's an illusion. It is destined. My life is destined. I was meant to be born. My parents were meant to have sex and create me. And I asked to come here as like the divine spark. And God's like, Darius, you're going to go. You don't really have a choice. You're kind of going to go. I'm going to implant this feeling in you that you want to come in, but really it's me implanting the feeling in myself that I want to experience life as Darius. And then in this life, you're going to go through a lot of difficult stuff, and then you're going to wake up out of it, and then you're going to speak about it. That was my destiny. And it's a lot of people's destiny. It's been a lot of people's destiny to wake up to the true reality of what life is. God is in charge of everything. And so when you tap into that kind of knowing that God's really in charge of everything, then what you think you're meant to do kind of loses a lot of its seriousness. It looks like there's a fork in the road, but all roads lead ultimately to the same thing. God already knows what choices you're going to make in each moment, because the current moment is already unfolding perfectly, and you're making that choice. And each of the potentialities have already been planned out. So it doesn't matter which path you choose, it's going to ultimately lead to the same thing. It may look a little bit different in each path, but God's already accounted for that. God knows how many cells are in your body. God's in charge of your internal and external state of being all the time. Everyone's, all the animals, the insects, everything. It's like you can't escape it. And if you sit and think about it enough, maybe you smoke some weed, you get stoned and like you think about it a lot, or like you do some mushrooms or some like psychedelic stuff, it will fuck with you. This like it can terrify you. It's like this inescapable life. You are inseparable from life. So there's no point in fighting it. There's no point in resisting it. Just go with the flow. And now, you personally, subjectively, your own POV, like we say, it looks like you're steering the ship, and you are. It's meant to feel that way, guys. It's meant to feel like we have control over our lives, and we do. But there's ultimately really only one thing that you're ever in control of. Just one thing. And it's what I call the one sin. There's only one sin. You are in alignment, you are surrendered, you have faith, or you don't. And that sin is when you're not in alignment. When you are looking for yourself in the external, you are not aligned. When you realize that you are the spark of the divine, that you are the infinite aspect of God in a physical suit, when you realize that and you are living your life from that POV and you're choosing that, then you are aligned, and then you are not the sinner. You are connected to the source. So it's like we have these laws in place, and like we have these like, commandments and whatever telling us to behave a certain way, because it's like when you are naturally aligned, you just don't do the negative stuff anyway. Or that you have a zoomed out view, like you personally connect to the zoomed out view, that you realize that like none of it really matters. There's really no such thing as right or wrong. It's kind of like when you zoom out and you're looking at the planet, there's no like lines, there's no map, there's no geography, there's no countries. When you zoom out, it's just one Earth, and it's just like you see the continents and you see the oceans, and that's it. That's what we are. There's no lines. The lines, the map, all of that stuff is the mind. It's the construct. And when you separate yourself from that construct and you take a look at it and you see it for what it is, you expand into like, oh my God, I'm everything and everything is me. So don't get stuck on, I have my choice, and then like I have to live my life in a specific way, and your life is, I hate to break it to you, already kind of planned out for you. That's it. You're not going to one up God. You're not going to get away from the entity of all that is. You're not. So don't fight it. That's why all of the religions are telling you, don't resist, submit to the awesomeness that is the Lord, and the Lord will treat you well because you are it and it is you. It will provide for you, because it's like God's like, I'm going to chop my own arm off if I don't provide for you. It's basically what he's doing. He's like, I'm going to like destroy myself. But there's really no true destruction, guys. It's just like changing of the physical from one to the other. It's like you take a piece of paper, and it was paper, and then you burn it, and now it's no longer paper. It's just like ash and smoke and whatever comes out of it. It's still the same thing. It's still all the same molecules and energies, and it might have transformed a little bit here and there on the outside, on the edges, but ultimately it's still basically the same thing. But to us, to our senses, to our POV, it looks like it's transforming. And in reality, it's just light. It's all slowed down light that the Lord is in charge of. So you're a puppet. And like when I was really kind of grasping that and like fully understanding it and like coming to terms with it, I was like, oh my God, like there's no escaping it. It's kind of like in the Matrix where Neo knocks down the vase, and the Oracle is like, well, what's really going to bake your noodle later is, would I still have knocked it over if I didn't say anything? It's like you knowing this changes things. You really grasping it, because you start to try and think you can cheat God in a way. That if you choose a different path, but God already knows that you have that inclination to choose a different path, who do you think gave it to you? Like, you have these thoughts that drop in. Like, let's say you're advanced. Let's say you're open. Let's say you get the downloads, like they say. Let's say you're a prophet. You get the prophetic visions, right? Who do you think is sending you those visions? Do you think it's you that's like in charge of like yourself and like, this is already predetermined, man? It's only meant to look like you have choice in your own life, or else like you're just a zombie. You see what I mean? God wants to experience the own POV in us to make it feel like we really have choice. But ultimately, there's really no choice, you see? So there is choice, but there's also no choice. It's a paradox. It's 100% destiny, guys. It's 100% fate. But then also, not really. Haha, you know, like, it's meant to fuck with you. The grand mysteriousness of what life is, it's meant to, like, not be easy for your mind to fully grasp. And that's where the awesomeness comes in. It's like, you're meant, sometimes like stuff happens and it's meant to shock you out of your mind. You see, it's like, because it's trying to get you to realize that your mind is just one little sliver of the totality of whatever understanding you think it is. It can never be understood there. So it's easier to just let go and not fight the current moment. And it's easier to forgive yourself for getting caught up in this illusory reality that we're living in, this physical reality that we've been trapped into, kind of, you know? It's like, I'm going to keep you here as long as you need to learn your lessons. But you're not learning anything because you already know these things, because you're already God. All you're doing is remembering, realizing. God wants to experience that. He wants to see if he can wake himself up out of not being connected. That's the whole exercise. He knows before you're born when you're going to die. And he knows everything in between. There's no escaping it, guys. That's why everyone that thinks like there's different timelines and we're shifting timelines and the earth is shifting timelines and we're headed to this new earth. Do you think God doesn't already know what's going to happen 10 years from now or 20 years from now? How can it not? It is God. There's no such thing as time. The future is already happening. It's just to our senses, to our linear perception of time, the future hasn't happened yet, but it's already happened, guys. In God's eye, God is everything, the future and the past. Don't you see? You can't escape it. So bow down to it. Submit to it. Surrender to it. Have faith that it will take care of you, that you are protected always, that you are invincible. You really are. Even in your moment of death, you are invincible. The beauty of it, that even in your moment of death, when you are leaving the physical and you are going back to the source, the physical is nothing. The physical is the illusion. We're all asleep. You're asleep as long as you're here. And we want to experience this. That's the catch of all of this, is like, we want to experience this. As fucked up and weird as all of this is, we want to experience it. It's like we're craving it. God is craving it. It's almost intoxicating. It's erotic. It's like this lustful, like, oh, I love being incarnated in the physical. I love getting to experience myself in terms of myself in other different ways, in all of these different various manifestations. And different people have different experiences. And it's always different because there's never one thing that's ever truly the same perfect thing. It's like the different time and the different place and the different experience of each person creates its own unique experience all through the ages. And yes, a lot of the stuff is borrowed and the same, but it's mixed in a different way. It's like you know, the recipe of creating a cake and baking a cake. No one cake is ever truly perfectly the same cake every single time you bake it. It's impossible. It's going to feel the same. It's going to look the same. It's going to be close. It's going to be 99.9% close to that previous cake that you baked every time. You got it down to a science. But to the molecule, to the atom, it's not the exact same cake. Do you see? So to your own personal perception, you think it is. To your own POV, to your own choice, you think it is. But it's not. It's beyond you. So what are we ultimately doing? And this is why people get stuck on like what their purpose is and, you know, what am I doing here and what are we doing here? Because it's very easy to disillusion oneself, to lose interest, to kind of become apathetic and give up on this. Because the whole trick of it is that you are looking for yourself in everything. I've said this ad nauseum in my videos. But it all links together, man, okay? When you wake up out of this illusion, when you truly wake up to the reality of what's going on, then everything naturally falls into place for you. And so like this idea of you needing to find your path and needing to like find your purpose and stuff like that kind of also loses its supreme importance. Because you realize that your path is basically intertwined with whatever God's will is at any given time. And there's no escaping it. And it's much easier to go with the flow. That's all you really have control over. It is much easier to do that than it is to constantly resist, to constantly fight, to constantly judge, to constantly just feel negative. It's easier to open yourself up, to let go and to surrender to the will of the grand intelligence that moves everything, that sustains everything. It's much easier. It feels better. It's so much more beautiful and miraculous. And God wants to experience the miraculous through you. All of it is. It's all a miracle playing itself out from moment to moment, from any geographical point of view that you're looking at it. On any, point that you look at the planet at any time, it is always perfect. You're like, hey, I'm going to look at like China right now, and you're going to zoom in, you're going to look at what's happening, and you're like, oh, perfection. And I'm going to look at Chicago, and oh, look, it's beautiful. And New York, and then I'm going to go to Rio de Janeiro, and then I'm going to go, you're going to zoom into any city, and whatever is playing out there at any given moment is perfection. And in the deepest ocean, at the bottom of the ocean, in the abyss, perfect. Always. I mean, perfect, guys. And we're meant to feel perfection sometimes. It's not meant to be perfect all the time, but we're meant to have these highlights in our lives so that we can get kind of a feeling, like an emotional knowing of what that perfection is like in our lives at different points, because you need that contrast. You feel like crap, but then you also feel that perfection. And then you're like, wait, I don't want to feel like crap all the time. It's way better to feel perfect all the time. And even if I do feel like crap, I know that it's going to pass. I'm not going to be stuck in it. I'm not going to be... It may feel like a really, really long time that you're stuck in it, but ultimately it's not. That's why I say, man, you got to zoom out. Always. You got to zoom out. What you think is this eternal damnation that you're experiencing for 5 or 10 years, it feels like this slog, this never-ending just battle. That is 1 nanosecond to God, man. It's nothing. You are an atom. You are nothing. And at the same time, that one little atom is immensely powerful. It has the power to change life itself. It has the power to influence the overarching theme, the overarching everything. You have the power to influence that. You are inseparable from that. And so that's where your power comes from. That's where your strength comes from. It's like, wow, I'm really God. I am a God. I am a man God. I am a woman God. I am a being. It's insane. That's the insane thing. All of this, like we're all out here asleep, but when everybody starts waking up, oh my God, the magic that we're gonna create. It's inevitable, guys. It's inevitable. It's the natural conclusion to the overarching play, this grand theater that we've been born into. There's only one conclusion, at least in the physical. What's the point of this all? You're meant to experience the tumultuousness, the hell. You're meant to. But then you're meant to wake up from it too. Everyone is. And it's not meant to be in this lifetime, always, for everyone. Some people, they're going to die without waking up. That's fine. You get to be born again. That's what the true born again is, man. You think that like you go and you're like, I used to be a sinner, but now I'm going to be born again in Christ. Jesus is going to be born again in me. And you don't know the first thing about what Jesus is or what he embodied. You're fucking clueless. You're like, okay, so now I'm born again. I'm a virgin again. I'm pure again. And you just go back to living the same life that you were. You think that like, now I go to church and I believe and ooh, I'm on the righteous path. You're still fucking blind. Because you're still in the construct of that religion. You haven't seen past it. It's useful up to a point, guys. But don't get lost in the religion, man. Just like you don't get lost in any other physical aspect of what this world has. When you realize that your mind and your thoughts and your beliefs are all just a construct, when you realize that it's a physical representation of this that exists, that we're in, when you realize that, then it's so much easier to zoom out and break free from it. And that is what your soul is desperately craving. It's what everyone out there is desperately craving. To wake up, to have the understanding that there's really no such thing as free will and that it's all destiny.